Hey beautiful people, welcome back to Be Finding with Jessie, the life coach. Happy 2020, happy new year. We have finally arrived, right? It's a new year, new decade, and I hope everybody's feeling good. I hope everyone had a beautiful and amazing time bringing in 2020. I know so many people did it so many different ways. I know people who went out and painted the town red. They were out there partying it up all night. I know people who brought in the new year with family and friends at home. I know people who brought it in, spending a nice quiet evening at home. I know people who brought it in watching movies. However you did it, whatever way you did it, I hope it worked for you, and I hope it was a beautiful moment that you will remember. So guys, what are we talking about today, right? It's been a minute since I've been on. I took a little break myself. I needed to recharge my batteries. So we are back. And what are we talking about? So today we are going to be talking about the new year and its energy. So a lot of the times we get into a new year, everybody's excited. We have promises of new energy, faith. We have hope. We have desire to go forward, right? But the thing is, that doesn't come with the promise of a new year, right? If you really think of it, a new year is another day on the calendar. All that energy and all that good spirit and good vibes that we feel, that comes from us. That comes from the energy that we create. A new year is just another day on the calendar. It's like any other day. But it comes in with all this new energy, right? And all this hope and faith, and that comes from us. We create that. That's coming from us. It's a mindset that we create. It's a perspective that we have, that things are going to be different, that we are going to move forward, that we're going to do things different, that we're going to make New Year's resolutions and things of that sort. So that stems from us, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. There's still some people that, they're still stuck in those old cycles and they're not sure how to move forward. I'm going to be sharing some tips if you're stuck in a old cycle or just cycles in general on how to move forward, how to get to that new energy that majority of us are in, right? That new energy of a new year, that new promise of a new day. So one thing you always have to remember about cycles of life is, in order to change that cycle and get off that wheel, you need to change your perception. I've made a lot of videos about changing your perception and getting your mind right. If your mind is not right, everything else is going to feel wrong. So that's number one. So how do we do that, right? It's easier said than done, especially when you're struggling with something that's super difficult. Your emotions are all over the place and you're off balance, right? It could be anything. So many people are in different phases of life and people are all struggling with different things. It could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be physical, right? It could be spiritual. But this is the thing, it doesn't make a difference what you are struggling with. The human experience is a human experience. What you need to focus on is your perception and changing your mindset. And the number one key way to do that is to always remember you are not your losses. So that's super important to remember. We are not our losses. We are not our misjudgments. We are not our miscalculations. We are not our struggles. Those things do not define us. So don't internalize it. So when you're going through a bad cycle or bad phase of life, or you're struggling in some way, form, or fashion, the number one way to stay stuck in a cycle is to internalize it, right? To believe that this is all you're capable of, or you can't get out of it, or it's literally the end of you. You cannot internalize losses, bad cycles, bad phases of life, right? You have to understand that that's just the cycle of life. Sometimes we're going to win some, sometimes we are going to lose some. So it's all about your mindset, and we're going to start talking about the steps to change that mindset. When we shift our energy, that is always up to us. The energy comes from us, and the energy, our actions, always stems from our mindset. So it's all about changing your perception, right? And so we're going to talk about how to do that. So tip number one to change our mindset is to always remember that whatever you're going through is just a test. You got to consistently remind yourself that this is just a moment of your years of span that you are going to be on this earth. You have to treat bad cycles, things that you're struggling with, tests. Literally as a test. Like when you were in school and you sat down to take a test and you were super nervous and you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And it felt like everything at this moment depended on the answers that you were going to give, right? And maybe that test was dependent on whether you were going to move forward past to the next grade or stay stuck in that grade. That's how you have to look at every struggle, as a test and something there to challenge you. That's how you have to think about it. A lot of people, when they're going through something difficult, they fall down into that cycle of pain, that hurt, that loss, that I can't do it, because they don't look at it as a test. Look at it as a test. Look at your struggles as someone literally came up to you, marched up to you, and challenged you. And they said, I challenge you to be able to do A, B, and C. Now, if you look at life like that, majority of us, we won't back down to a challenge. I know I won't. You challenge me, I'm going forward. And not only that, but I'm going to give you everything I got. That is who I am. So when I think about my struggles in life and something that's coming to me as a challenge, because I say, you know what? I'm not going to let this defeat me. No way. This is here to challenge me. I'm going to show this challenge what I got, what I have, and what I am made of. Number 2, when you are going through bad cycles or struggles in life, you have to always remember who you are. This is a big one. A lot of times when people are faced with challenging situations, they forget who they are. They forget the power that they have. They forget their strength. They forget that fight that they have in them. You have to remember who you are, what you are capable, and how you're able to blaze forward. If you're at least into your teens, there have already been things you have faced in life, and that's how you have to look at life. If you're older than that, that means that you have been through way more in life, that you have conquered, that you have survived, that you came on the other side shining bright to rise and see another day. So if that is true, which it is most likely true, right? Then you have to remember who you are. You have to remember all the things you have survived. You have to remember all the times when you felt like you felt so defeated and you couldn't do it. But guess what? You did it anyway. That's the part that we always forget as human beings. We have a short memory pretty much of things that we have conquered in life and things we have came through on the other side successful. And when you are hit with a time that is bad in your life, or that you're struggling, or you just feel lost, you have to remember who you are. As long as that sun is rising and setting the next day, and you have air in your lungs, there is always, 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 always a possibility, hope, and faith for things to always turn around for you. So you always have to remember that. You have had winning cycles where things were great and energy was amazing and you were on top of the world, and then in one instant something happened to you, right? It could be anything. It could be a loss of a job. It could be a loss of a child, unfortunately. It could be a loss of a family member. Whatever it is that one instance, that one moment where your life was perfectly fine, and then boom, something hits it so powerful, and literally it just kind of like your life just starts crumbling. And it might be like a domino effect. Like once one thing goes wrong, something else goes wrong, and then something else goes wrong, and it's like right? It just seems like your world is falling apart. But it all happened in one instant, one thing that changed the dynamic of your life. Just how that moment, that one thing that came to shake up your world made it transform. Remember, it's that one moment after you go through that struggle that hits you, that one door that opens, that one person, who gives you a helping hand, that one person who offers you something, that one job that finally comes through, whatever it is. It could be that one opportunity that comes into your life after a hardship that could change everything around and put you right back where you were. So just like that one moment took everything down, that one moment could build everything right back up for you. It could be that one shot that puts it back up there, okay? So never ever forget that. Remember who you are. Remember what you are capable of doing. And remember how one moment can change your status, your stability in your life. Number 3 is to always take responsibility for your traumas. Whatever has happened to you that has created an upset, an upheaval in your life, take responsibility. So taking responsibility can mean so many different things. We can use it in so many different contexts, right? So taking responsibility could be something as small as you lose a job and then everything just goes out of control, right? You know, you're behind on bills, you know, you're got debt collectors calling you, you're possibly losing your home, and you might have lawsuits against you, right? So in that instance, maybe things are out of your control, right? And you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm financially strapped. I have no income coming in. What can I possibly do? Taking responsibility could be as small as asking for help. Taking responsibility may be, taking out a loan before things get out of control. Taking responsibility might be as simple as asking maybe a family member for help. Taking responsibility could be as simple as going down to a social services department and applying for temporary help, or seeing where, charities and churches can possibly help you, right? Taking responsibility can mean so many things when something has happened to you. Taking responsibility could be that you need to take responsibility for the actions that you have taken and the choices you have made to contribute to any situation that you're possibly in. Whatever taking responsibility means for you, at the end of the day, it's all about not folding and not giving up, not giving in. It's about facing things head on. Don't fold, don't ignore, don't go backwards. Don't just sit there and let it happen. The minute you are capable of thinking of solutions on how to go forward, go forward. Don't be afraid to face it. So always, always, always go straight. Face it head on, whatever that is for you, no matter how scary it is. It might be scary. You might not have a lot of solutions. You might feel like you feel helpless. You might feel like you don't have a lot of hope and faith on what the future is going to hold. That might be scary in itself, when you don't know what's on the other side, when you don't see the path forward, right? A lot of people just stay stuck because they don't know what to do. No. Take responsibility. Tell yourself, okay, this is super scary. This is something that has happened. Unfortunately, it has happened. I cannot go backwards. I cannot change the past. It is what it is. Accept it. Get yourself back up on your feet. Get your bearings. Get your strength and move forward. Your goal, your mission, your challenge, your test is to get to the other side. That is where you need to get through, out of the darkness into the light. You feel defeated. You feel confused. You feel like you can't see the light, right? That's your mission. That's your challenge. That's your test. That's your goal. Your goal is to get to the other side. Once you get out of that darkness, out of that feeling of hopelessness, then you're able to start seeing the path forward and making that path for yourself if the path is not there. Number 4 is to focus on your abundance. A lot of the times when bad things happen to people and they're struggling, they focus on the struggle. They focus on what they don't have. They focus on the lack. They focus on, I'm never going to be able to rebuild if it's a loss, right? They can't see the path forward. They're just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Don't focus on that. Don't focus on that. Focus on what you still have. Focus on what you have. Focus on the good in your life. Focus on the good people you have in your life. Focus on the joy you have in your life. Focus on the things that make you smile. Focus on the things that make you happy. Focus on whatever blessings you still have in your life. That's where your focus should be, on your abundance. Anything that brings you abundance. And abundance can mean so many things, right? Whatever brings you joy, whatever brings you happiness, whatever brings you peace, whatever you're thankful for, right? Focus on that. And a lot of the times when we're in that negative state, we cannot see the abundance. But there's so much abundance around us. It's all about a mindset, right? It goes back to our perspective. You have to focus on the positive, not what you lost, not the cups that spilled over. Don't focus on the cup you don't have. Don't focus on the cups that you spilled over. Focus on the fact that you might still have a cup. Focus on what you might still have in your cup. focus that you could possibly rebuild and get a new cup. That's what you need to focus on. The possibility, whatever brings you happiness, whatever brings you joy, whatever's around you that is still standing, whatever's around you that still remains. Don't focus on what you don't have. Like if you have a breakup, for instance, right? And maybe someone did you terribly wrong. They betrayed you, possibly cheated on you, made you feel not worthy, all that kind of stuff that, a bad breakup can bring. Don't focus on that person and that feeling. You want to focus on the love that you still have around you. You may not have romantic love from this person any longer, but you still have love around you, right? You might have parents who adore you, friends who, they like your ride and die, like great friends that feel like family members, right? You might have nieces and nephews, or maybe you have kids. There's some people that can't even have kids, right? And sometimes we don't even realize that is a blessing, but it is a blessing. Some people pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to have babies every single year. And maybe you have a child and it was effortless for you, right? And you're thinking about all the bad in your life and forgot what a blessing and how happy you were when you had a child and gave birth to that child. Well, focus on that. That is a blessing. So focus on what you still have. Focus on the love that's in your life. Focus on abundance, the happiness that's still around you. Number 5 is always to remember those beautiful, beautiful times that you have had in the past. A lot of times when we're going through something rough, we forget about all the beautiful times, all the beautiful memories we have had in the past. And it just seems like we're never going to get that feeling back, right? So let's say you had a financial loss, and let's say you are a person who was constantly traveling and buying beautiful things and buying luxurious things, and you're just like, you can't even fathom how you're ever going to get back to that place where you're able to not feel so constrained and not feel like you can buy the things that you want, right? Or do the things that you want. That could be, real heavy on a person, right? Especially when they're going through financial difficulties. They feel like, oh my God, even if I get on my feet, I'll never be able to enjoy the things I used to enjoy in the past. Well, remember the times. Remember how you built up to that point where you had enough. Remember how you got there. Remember how you built up to that point, right? So always remember those good times. Remember the times that you were laughing and you felt happy. And that's one of the missions you want to have in your foresight. That's one of the challenges and the goals that, you got to get over that challenge to get back to that goal, to get back to your happiness. So you have to keep it in mind, keep it in your vision, keep it in your foresight of that's where you're going towards. You want to go back to that, that place of abundance, that place of feeling like you have more to give, that you can give freely, that you can spend freely. That's how you have to think about it. So always remember what you had. People always focusing on what they don't have. Like I said, focus on what you have and focus on what you used to have, so you know clearly that you're capable of having it again, that you're capable of making it happen for yourself just like you did it then, and start going forward to accomplish that feeling again. Number 6 is to always respect the cycles of life. And this goes back to something else I said earlier, right? You have to know that life is just a mix of ups and downs, good and bad, wins and losses, right? We can't always win. It's just not realistic. We're just not going to go through life as someone who's never fazed by anything negative or anything bad or any losses or any misjudgments or any miscalculations or, what have you. We all are growing and learning, right? And we all kind of get off our path. And sometimes we create our own misfortunes. And you have to come to peace with that. But not only come to peace with it, but also respect it, right? And I'll give you an example of this from my own life. So, recently, this last year that just passed, 2019, it's been a rough year for me, just like it's been a rough year for everyone. I was definitely not exempt. And a lot of people didn't know that because I'm always smiling, I'm always happy, I'm always, try to bring positive energy. I always try to just look on the bright side of life, right? So I not only coach, but I also practice what I preach. And I think that's what makes me a good coach, because not only am I teaching people how to do it, I also have lived it, and I'm still living it, right? And nobody's exempt from the human experience. So this past year has been a big wave of up and down, a lot of losses. I had a few floods in my house. My Thanksgiving alone, I spent my Thanksgiving flooded out. I didn't get to celebrate Thanksgiving. it was just, a crazy time for me. And then a couple of weeks after that, I had my birthday. My birthday was 3 weeks ago. And it was a huge milestone birthday, and I wasn't able to do much. Not only that, but I was extremely sick and dealing with a sickness, that I have, not your basic like cold or flu or anything like that. It's just issues that I have always had to deal with. And on my birthday, I was at home in pain, so I didn't do much. And for most people, they would feel depressed, they would feel sad. And for me, I just saw it as, okay, well, I looked at the positive, and I brought in my own happiness and looked on the bright side of life. I have had amazing birthdays throughout the years where I have celebrated it international on islands that people will probably never even travel to in this lifetime, right? Some people are not as fortunate to be able to have the funds or the time to be able to travel to these places. But not only have I had birthdays on exotic islands and, living my best life, but I have had birthdays where I've been, at spa parties. I haven't had a birthday that I rented out a party bus, and it goes on and on and on. I have family members who have thrown birthday parties for me. I have had, beautiful lavish dinners and Broadway shows. And so I usually go all out for my birthday, or I have other people who go all out for me. I'm really blessed and thankful for that. But this year was not one of those years. It was a year that I brought in my year, not feeling well. I was in pain. I was still recovering from, a flood that I had here, like I said, from Thanksgiving. And it hasn't been the best year for me just in general. But I always pick up that happy face, and I thought about the past years of all these beautiful things and all these blessings that I have had experience. And some people, they haven't had that in their lives. And I was okay, this year is just not my year. That's completely fine. Next year is going to be better, right? That's how you have to look at it. Not only that, but I had a very, very good friend of mine that I just love as a sister. And she called me with amazing news. She's expecting, and it's something that she's wanted for a very, very long time. She had a difficulty getting pregnant. And on my birthday, she called to wish me a happy birthday. And she shared the news with me. And I was so happy for her. And it made my birthday, right? So that's not technically my happiness, right? That's her blessing. But as a friend, of course, I want the best for her, and I want the best for everyone. So I was able to bask in her happiness. And that's how you have to do it. There's been times that I was out living my best life, and unfortunate, she was dealing with things that just rocked her world, right? And now this year was kind of the opposite. I didn't have, that best bringing in my birthday season, and she had a beautiful blessing to share. And if you're one of those people who authentically love to see people happy, which I am, I love when people are happy. I love when they're, accomplishing their goals and getting things they want in life. It makes me happy to see other people happy, especially if they are a close friend or family member. It's even better for me. And that made my birthday. Right? So in the past, maybe she might have been down on the wheel and I was up. And today, this year it was the opposite, and that's okay. And I was okay with that. And not only her, but it's been other people that been down on their luck for many, 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 many years. And, unfortunate situations have happened to them. And this year, it was their year. Things that were not moving in their life finally moved. They were having babies, and some people were getting married, and some people were, ending a cycle of their life, like a divorce, and meeting someone new, and meeting, their life partner. And there was others who never got to travel before, and they're traveling. And there were others who've been wishing to purchase a house, and they just purchased their house this year, or they wanted a new car and they just got approved for it, or a loan, whatever have you. There was a lot of people who, like I said, they had bad phases of life. They've been kind of in that bad cycle, the other side of it. And this year they were blessed. And the people who are normally blessed and had beautiful, beautiful blessings in the past, maybe this year wasn't their year. So sometimes we got to lose for others to win. But when you see other people winning, it's a great, great feeling. And you know what? Embody it, embrace it, be happy for them. And that is going to bring you more happiness into your life. Number 7, always focus on what you can control. A lot of times when people are going through something rough, they're going through something bad, they are struggling, they focus on what they can't control. So back to the examples I gave. If you had a situation that financially you were struggling, like I said, a loss of a job, that's something that you can't control, right? You can't control whether a company lets you go. You can't control when they let you go. So instead of focusing on that, focusing on what you don't have, what you no longer have, those cups spilled over, you want to put your energy into what you can create, right? So that's the situation. Let's say that we're going to use that same example. You lost a job and you're not sure how to move forward. Like I said in the past scenario, maybe you got debt climbing up, and it's building up and collecting. So what do you want to focus on? You don't want to focus on, oh my god, I'm losing this, my credit score is going down, I possibly might lose my house is in foreclosure, blah 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 blah. You don't want to focus on that. You want to focus on solutions, how to move forward. Think about what can you create, how can you bring in money? How can you build something for yourself? Where can you apply to, for new jobs? Do you have any friends who are hiring? How can you get the word out? Do you have some type of skill that you can get out there, right? You want to focus on what you can control and not what you can't control. That is where your power is. A lot of people feel powerless when they go through bad things that they can't control. And it's because they put their power into the things they cannot control. You don't want to do that. You want to put your power, your energy, your focus, your mindset, your perspective into getting out of that, right? What you can control. What can you create? If the door is closed, how can I create the door for me? If the door is closed, how can I go through the window? How can I, is there a back door? There's no back door. Can I create a back door? Can I create an opportunity for myself, right? That's how you have to think about it. You want to think of ideas. You want to think about weighing your options. What are your options? How can you get assistance? How can you get help? How can you move forward? All your energy should be focusing on what you can control and creating a path to see that light, getting through that challenge, getting through the test, passing the test, getting into that light. Your main focus, no matter what you're going through, is stability. Every time we're struggling is because some type of stability, has come in and either shaken up our stability or pretty much brought it down. It brought down the foundation. So that's your focus. Your focus is always on creating that stability. It doesn't make a difference how small the steps are. It doesn't make a difference how slow you are moving. It's all about steadiness, moving forward, keeping focus, keeping the vision. The saying, slow and steady wins the race? Well, that's what you want to create here. Slow and steady, as long as you're moving, as long as you're taking those steps. And number 8 is focusing on balance. Balance is going to be your key when you're dealing with anything that you are struggling with. When you are struggling and something has shaken up your stability, the first thing that's going to be impacted is your balance. And after your balance, it's going to be your mental and physical health. So you want to focus on that. If your mind is not right, you are not going to be right. So you need to focus on maintaining and balancing out your stress. You're going to be focused on maintaining and balancing your health, making sure that you're eating right, making sure that self-care and self-love is at your forefront. You have to be able to maintain your mental capacity. And a lot of times when people are struggling with things, that's the first thing that happens. Their mentality gets so buried and burdened with hopelessness. They start getting depression, they start getting anxiety, they start developing insomnia, they can't sleep, they can't see straight. When you are in that state, you're never ever going to be able to create options and see forward. You're only going to focus on the negative, and you don't need to be in that mindset. That's the mindset that you want to avoid. So in order for you to even be able to take these steps that we mentioned prior, you have to have your mind right. And the only way to have your mind right is to make sure you're keeping balance, you're staying grounded. You're being able to see when your mental capacity is declining, and you need to start, leveling out those levels of emotions and feelings that you are going through. You want to make sure that you're staying present. And how you stay present? Well, you could do so many different things, right? You can enjoy things of the moment. It could be anything from just lighting a candle and just sitting there and just letting, that warmth and that serenity kind of just let you just kind of have a moment, right? Having a bubble bath, getting a massage. These are things you can do at home. These are things that don't have to be costly. You just want to make sure that you're staying present, going outside, making sure you're getting air, making sure you're getting your 8 hours of sleep, making sure if you can't sleep that you're doing little things to help you, relax the anxiety, maybe getting a heating pad to soothe your body. Like I said, bubble baths are great. Taking spiritual baths, which is going to include essential oils, maybe having essential oils around the house, saging your house, reading. If you're a religious person, maybe the Bible. If you're not a religious person, maybe journaling. I always speak about journaling because it's so good for releasing some more. Speaking to someone, a friend, a family member. If you're in a situation that you can't afford it and you're struggling, then a therapist, right? If you're in a situation that you're stuck, but you don't really need therapy, maybe a life coach like myself. So there's so many ways that you can keep balance, but you got to make sure that you're taking the action, because nobody knows what you're struggling through. Nobody knows what's in the inside. That's up to you. You have to maintain that. So if you're struggling, you're the person that's going to know you're struggling. You're the one that's going to know if you're sleeping too much. You're the one that's going to know if you're off your eating habits, and your eating habits are all over the place, or you're not eating at all. Making sure that you're balancing your meals, making sure that you're eating 3 meals a day, things like that, right? That's going to be all your responsibility. And when you're struggling, those are the first things to go. And number 9 is to take it slow, build up momentum, so stamina could follow, right? So what's momentum? Everything we just mentioned. Making sure that your mind is right, making sure that you're releasing stress, making sure you're getting rest, making sure you are eating right, making sure that you're releasing those mindsets that are keeping you stuck in a negative state, making sure that you're seeing these challenges as a test, making sure that you are facing them, not avoiding them. Once you start getting clear on what your steps are, you start writing them down, and you start, getting together what you need together to create those steps, and you're taking those little steps to keep on going forward and moving, getting closer to what you're trying to accomplish. Like I said, that's the stamina that's going to come through. When you're resting, getting that food intake in, making sure your mind is right, releasing. That's when the stamina is going to pick up, and you're going to be like, I could do this. I got this. You're going to have your mind right. You're going to have enough fuel, which is the food intake that you're taking in. So make sure that you have enough in you for that fight, for that challenge, for that test. That's how you create the stamina. But first, you need to create the momentum. Momentum first, the stamina will follow. You will have the energy. You will have the strength. You will have, that courage to move forward and get yourself out of any struggle or any dark cycle that you are facing. So guys, that is all I have for you today. It's already turning pitch black out here, and it's early. It's only like 4 o'clock. It's like I can't wait to get out of the winter months, so we don't have that no more, right? It makes it seem like the day is so down and dreary, and I hate that feeling. But like I said, that is all I have for you today. If you are still in one of these cycles, I hope that you look into some of these steps to get yourself out of it. As I always tell everyone, I am a life coach, so if you're struggling with something, you can always reach out. And if you are in a dark place in your life, it doesn't cost anything to have someone listen. You can always email me. My email is actually always linked in the info box. Please feel free to share if there's someone you can't share it with, and you're at that point that you just feel like you can't go on. You always can go on, and if you need someone to remind you of that, I could be that someone for you. So definitely hit me up, definitely send me an email, let me know what you're going through, and I'll be more than happy to be able to share any advice that I can, give you any numbers to any professionals that I could possibly help you. So I will see you in my next one. Like I said, if you're struggling, you always have the power and strength within you to get through it. Bye.